Hi book lovers, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am sharing all the romances that are coming out next year in 2024. I have a giant list to share today. These are books by authors that I've read or authors that I've heard about or want to read. I am going to break this video up into separate parts by month, so it might be a little easier to navigate. And for each month, I'm going to share my most anticipated release of that month. I did do a video where I shared like my top 10 romances that are coming out next year, but this is going to be the bigger list, the more comprehensive one, though it's not entirely comprehensive. I'm leaving a ton of books out of it as well, mostly because I just don't have the time to include them all. I'm also going to keep the blurbs for these books super short, quick and to the point so I can get to everything. Also, these books are subject to release date change. If I got a release date wrong, I apologize, but these are as accurate as I have them, so they might change after I post this video. Just keep a heads up about that. So starting off with January, my most anticipated release for this month is probably everyone's most anticipated release. This is House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. This is book 3 in the Crescent City series. We are getting more of Bryce and Hunt. We have a new Katarina Mara book coming out. This is Rhea and Lexington's romance. There's no title for it yet. It's book 5 in the Windsor series. Lexington got engaged at the end of book 4, so this is gonna be his romance. There's the Breakup Tour by Austin Sigmund Broca and Emily Wibberley. It's a second chance romance. We have a heroine who is a singer-songwriter who becomes famous overnight. She has this hit lead single and her ex-husband thinks the song is about him, but it's actually about her old ex-boyfriend from college who is going on tour with her. We have The Pucking Wrong Date by C.R. Jane. This is the third book in the Pucking Wrong series. We're getting another dark hockey romance. Another dark romance is War and His Queen by Amo Jones. This is the first book in a new series, the Carpe Noctem series. It's the second generation of the Elite Kings Club series. It's got the brother's best friend trope and it's about a secret society. Damaged Goods by L.J. Shenz is also coming out this month. It's book 4 in the All Saints High series. We have a good girl heroine who turns into a troubled child. She ends up with her best friend who is a bad boy quarterback. Toxic Love by Jagger Cole sounds so good. It's book 1 in the Venomous God series. It's a standalone dark mafia romance. It's got enemies to lovers, a good girl heroine, and a morally gray hero. Nobody Like Us by Kristen Becker Ritchie is book 13 in the Like Us series. It's another new adult romance. It's the third and final book for Luna and Donnelly. This one is The Takeover by Kara Tanamachi. It's an enemies to lovers romance. The hero was the heroine's high school nemesis and now he's planning a hostile takeover of her startup. Stacey Marie Brown is coming out with a contemporary romance. This is Down for the Count by S. Marie. The hero is a postal worker by day and an underground fighter by night. The heroine is a single mom and it just sounds so good. We have a new J.R. Ward this month. This is Mine. It's the third and final book in the Lair of the Wolven series, which is like her werewolf paranormal romance series. It all follows the same couple. And then this one is Red String Theory by Lauren Kung Jessen. The blurb says it's a fated love rom-com between star-crossed lovers. It's about the Chinese legend of the Red String of Fate. The heroine is a believer and unfortunately the hero is not. On the Edge by Kay Bromberg is coming out this month. This is the second book in the Full Throttle series, which is her Formula 1 romance series. It's got fake dating. The hero has to fix his bad boy reputation, so he fake dates the good girl intern. And there's also the only one bed trope. There are 2 historical romances that are coming out in January. This first one is Charlotte and the Seductive Spymaster by Grace Calloway. It's book 5 in the Lady Charlotte Society of Angels series, which is like a historical romance version of Charlie's Angels. So yes, we do get heroines who know how to fight in this historical romance series. In this book, we're finally getting Charlotte's book. Charlie is the leader of this society and she gets a bit of a love triangle. And then the other historical romance that I'm also excited about is Any Duke in a Storm by Amelie Howard. This is the 4th book in the Daring Duke series. I loved book 3 last year. It's another historical romance that's set out at sea. The heroine is a spy and the hero is her new sailing master. Midnight Ruin by Katie Robert is also coming out this month. This is Dark Olympus, book 6, which is like a modern retelling of Greek mythology. We have another throuple here, MMF. It's Eurydice, Chiron, and Orpheus. And then my final January book is a republished book. It was an indie that got picked up by a publisher. This is Gothicana by Rue Nix. It's this dark academia gothic romance between a professor and student. Moving on to the February releases, my most anticipated one is without a doubt Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This is Ali's very first paranormal romance. It's Omegaverse. It's a marriage of convenience between a vampire heroine and a werewolf, an alpha werewolf hero. Also coming out this month is Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. It's the first book in the Big Shot series. It's a new sports romance series. It's got Grumpy Sunshine. The hero is a pro golf player. The heroine becomes his new caddy and they travel together for his games. Where's Molly by H.G. Carlton is coming out this month. This was a surprise announcement. It's another dark romance set in the same cat and mouse world. It's about Molly, who was a girl who escaped from that awful place in Hunting Adeline. Serpentine Valentine is Gianna Darling's next release. It's a sapphic dark academia romance. It's a modern retelling of Medusa. It's got Grumpy Sunshine and a heroine out for revenge. If you're a fan of Kat Singleton, Pretty Rings and Broken Things is coming out this month. It's book 2 in the Black Tie Billionaire series. We have another billionaire romance. It's got the arranged marriage trope. Next is Visions of Flesh and Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the next book in the Blood and Ash series. It's actually book 5.5. It's not actually like a book, it's more like a Blood and Ash and Flesh and Fire companion, and the book is told from Miss Willa's point of view. And then this is An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson, and it's got a sapphic rivals to lovers romance. The Catch by Amy Lee is also coming out this month. It's the third book in the Influencer series. We have a grumpy lobster fisherman hero. Basically, she visits his rural fishing village. He gets into an accident, and she's mistaken for his fiance. We have some more Grumpy Sunshine romances coming out this month. Grumpy Sunshine is going to be the trope for 2024. This is When Grumpy Met Sunshine by Charlotte Stein. The hero is a grumpy retired soccer player. He is inspired by Roy Kent from Ted Lasso. The heroine is his sunshiny ghostwriter who's writing his memoir. They also end up fake dating. Fierce Obsession by S. Massery is next. It's another book in her Hockey God series. It's a dark hockey romance and it's Knox's book. And then we have Ashes of You by Catherine Cowles. This is book 5 in the Lost and Found series. It's another small town romance with romantic suspense and it's Lawson's story. The next Elle Kennedy is called Girl Abroad. It's a new adult romance about the daughter of a retired rock star who goes studying abroad in London, and her new roommates are all boys. Megan Quinn is coming out with The Reason I Married Him. It's small town, enemies to lovers with a marriage of convenience. The heroine is ready to run her family farm and the hero owns the other half of the land the farm is on. If you're a fantasy romance fan, Danielle L. Jensen is coming out with A Fate Inked in Blood. It's the first book in a new series, The Saga of the Unfated. It's a Norse-inspired fantasy romance series. The heroine ends up in a fight to the death with the hero, but instead of fighting, they actually form a blood oath. And then Susan Elizabeth Phillips is back with a new Chicago Stars book. It's been a long time since I read her, but I do love her books. Simply the Best is book 10 in the series. It's another sports romance. The hero is a sports agent and the heroine is his biggest client's sister. How You Get the Girl by Anita Kelly is out this month. It's an FF basketball romance set in high school, but the main characters are not actually high school age. One is the basketball team coach and the other is the mom of one of the new teammates. The Partner Plot by Christina Forrest is a second chance romance about high school sweethearts who wake up accidentally married in Vegas. They decide to go along with it, make it a marriage of convenience to boost their careers. Next is At First Bite by Olivia Dade. This is the start of a brand new series, the Harlot's Bay series. It's a small town romance. It's got forced proximity and enemies to lovers between neighbors. The heroine hates the hero because he is her ex's older brother and he told his brother to leave her. Tia Williams has a new book out this month. This is a love song for Ricky Wilde. The heroine is the black sheep of her family and she ends up falling for a man who's from the 1900s, like early 1900s. It's got a bit of a paranormal twist to it, time travel, there's a curse, and it's also about the Harlem Renaissance. Lorraine Heath has a new historical romance coming out. In Want of a Viscount is book 3 in the Chessmen Masters of Seduction series. The main characters meet in a brothel where they kiss. He's a viscount and she is a businesswoman and inventor. We have a new small town romantic suspense from Samantha Young. Through the Glen is book 3 in the Highland series. It's got opposites attract. The hero is a cynical screenwriter. The heroine is shy and she's also secretly a best-selling crime author. And then there's Sex, Lies, and Sensibility by Nikki Payne. It's a Sense and Sensibility inspired rom-com. The heroine inherits this abandoned beach house in the middle of nowhere, and the hero is a fake park ranger who gives tours of the land that house is on. They end up working together to draw in more business. And then there's Filthy Lawyer by Whitney G. We have an office romance here. The hero is a lawyer and he also used to be the heroine's professor. He was her former online professor who she accidentally sent in a list of dirty things she wanted her boyfriend to do to her instead of sending in her final paper. And then this one is Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. It's a surprise pregnancy romance. The heroine finds herself pregnant after a one-night stand, and the hero is her best friend's older brother who she's friends with, and he is not the dad. And then this final February book is another book that got picked up by a publisher, so it's republishing this month. It's Next of Kin by Hannah Bottom Young. This is a romance between two guardians who are taking care of their younger siblings, and they end up being new roommates. Moving on to all the March romances, the one I am dying for is This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. It's a sequel to Before I Let Go. It's book 2 in the Skyland series. It's Soledad's book. She's getting her romance. She is a newly single mom. Both the main characters are actually single parents and they have a forbidden romance. Another book that I am dying to get my hands on is Pirate Girls by Penelope Douglas. It's another noodle romance. It's book 2 in the Hellbent series. We're getting Dylan's book here. The hero hasn't actually been confirmed yet. It's either between the twins, Hunter and Dylan. I'm personally hoping it's gonna be Hunter. My Dark Desire by Parker S. Huntington and Nalji Shen is also coming out in February. This is a sequel to My Dark Romeo. It's book 2 in the Dark Prince Road series. We have no idea who this is about. It could be Oliver, it could be Zach, the two guy best friends from book 1. I would be happy with either one of them. And then my favorite, Kresley Cole, is coming out with a new Immortals After Dark book. The Witch Queen of Halloween is book 18.5 in the series. It's a paranormal romance novella. It's actually Rock's book. He is a demon soldier and his heroine is a Wiccan mercenary. They have a rivals to lovers romance, and like the title says, it is centered around Halloween. It was supposed to release last Halloween, but it did get pushed back. And then a sequel that I am very excited about is The Good, the Bad, and the Aunties by Jessie Q. Sutanto. It's book 3 in the Auntie series, which is a series that I love. It is so funny. It's set around Chinese New Year and the heroine, her husband, and her family all get involved in this war between these two businesses in Jakarta. If you love Helena Hunting, she has a new enemies to lovers romance. It's called If You Hate Me. It's a brother's best friend hockey romance. And then another sports romance is Blitz by Devney Perry. It's a sequel to Coach. It's book 2 in the Treasure State Wildcat series. We have a forbidden small town romance. The hero is the football coach and the heroine is one of the students on the volleyball team. Next I have Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. The hero has such an interesting job. He is hired to object at weddings, to break up weddings. The heroine discovers what he does for a living, so she ends up joining him. If you're a cowboy fan, Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage is coming out this month. This is book 2 in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. It's another small town cowboy romance. She's a city girl, he's a cowboy. She lands in this small town and they end up kissing, only to find out the next day that he is her new boss. And then for all the Hades and Persephone saga fans, A Touch of Chaos by Scarlett Sinclair is finally coming. It's the 4th and final book in this fantasy romance series. Another 2024 historical romance is Heather and the Prince by J.J. McAvoy. This is the author's 3rd historical romance. They're all set in the same world. And this one is about the sister of the heroine from Aphrodite and the Duke. It's rivals to lovers, and the hero is a literal prince. The Homewrecker by Sarah Kate is coming out this month. It's part of the Good Brothers series. It's book 2. There's no full blurb yet, but it does sound like there might be some cheating involved. And then the final March release that I have is Learn Your Lesson by Candy Steiner. It's book 3 in the Kings of the Ice series. It's another sports romance, another hockey romance from Candy Steiner. And then we have all of the April books. At the top of April for me is King of Sloth by Anna Huang. This is the 4th book in the Kings of Sin series. It's Sloane and Javier's romance. I'm pretty sure his name is pronounced Javier. I've been pronouncing it Xavier, but it's got a grumpy girl, Sunshine Boy. He's a party animal and she is his publicist. The new Emily Henry is also out in April. This is called Funny Story. The heroine's fiance dumps her for his childhood best friend, and she becomes new roommates with her ex-fiance's new fiance's ex-boyfriend. This next one I am so excited about as well. This is The Throne of Blood and Honor by Jay Bree. It's book 2 in her fantasy romance series, the Immortal Fate series. It's a sequel to The Crown of Oaths and Curses, and we're continuing with Rook and Soren's romance. If you're an Abby Jimenez fan like I am, she is coming out with Just for the Summer in April. It's about a hero who is cursed, where every woman that he dates, she meets the love of her life after they break up. The heroine is a traveling nurse who dates him, and it does seem like she might be able to break his curse. And then Chloe Leese is releasing the final book in the Bergman Brothers series. Only and Forever is book 7. It's got opposites attract. She's a cynic, he's a romantic, and they become roommates and co-workers for convenience. And then this one is How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong. It's a Hollywood romance. The heroine is this best-selling author and her books are getting adapted. The hero is a screenwriter working on her series, and they also knew each other from over a decade ago after a tragic accident. Next up is Avenging Angel by Kristen Ashley. It's the start of a brand new series, the Avenging Angel series, and this is actually a spin-off, a second generation series of the Rock Chick series, which I loved so long ago. Old Flames and New Fortunes by Sarah Hogel is another new release. It's got second chance romance and fake dating. The heroine is a flora fortunist and she fake dates her colleague to get a wedding invitation, but then she finds out that her fake date's new stepbrother is none other than her high school sweetheart and the guy who broke her heart. Megan Quinn has another new release coming out in 2024. This is called Bridesmaid for Hire, and it's a wedding romance. The heroine is an event planner. And then Sarah Adams is coming out with The Rule Book. It's a second chance romance between high school sweethearts. He is this famous NFL player, and he becomes the heroine's first client as a new sports agent. He does hold a grudge though over her breaking his heart, so he causes a little bit of trouble. And then Here We Go Again is another sapphic romance from Alison Cochrane. It's got former childhood best friends who are forced to road trip together with their old English lit teacher. And then we are getting a new Black Dagger Brotherhood book. This is The Beloved by J.R. Ward. It's freaking book 22 in the series, and the heroine is Sadist's daughter. I didn't realize we were already getting second generation, so I'm kind of excited. And then for all the Elsie Silver fans, she is coming out with a brand new series. Wild Love is the first book in the Rose Hill series. It's another small town romance. We have a single dad, brother's best friend, and childhood frenemies to lovers. Next is Falling for Gage by Mia Sheridan. This one is part of the same world as Arch's Voice and Travis, so it's another small town romance in that world. Alexandria Belfleur has a new queer romance coming out. Truly Madly Deeply is about a romance author and a divorce lawyer. They start a new podcast where they offer dating advice to listeners. And then there's One Last Word by Suzanne Park. It's a techie romance. The heroine is the founder of a new app that allows you to send a message to your loved ones after you pass away. Things get messed up though when a woman with the same name as the heroine dies, series, and instead of that woman's messages being sent to her loved ones, the heroine's messages get sent to her loved ones, including her old crush. Harper St. George has a new historical romance coming out. It's the first one in a new series. The Stranger I Wed is about an American heiress who needs a London husband, and she finds one in the Earl Hero. And then there's Taming Seven by Chloe Walsh. This is a new sports romance, new adult sports romance. It's the 5th book in the Boys of Tommen series. The heroine is all sunshine, and the hero is the class clown and her brother's best friend. And then my favorite, Nalini Singh, she's coming out with Archangel's Lineage. It's book 16 in the Guild Hunter series, and we are back with Elena and Raphael with this book. Katie Robert is releasing the Succubus's Prize, which is book 4 in the Deal with a Demon series. It's a sapphic monster romance with a succubus. And then this final April book is the 9th book in the Zodiac Academy series. If you're a fan of that series, this final book is releasing this month. If you haven't read it, it's this dark new adult fantasy romance series by Carolyn Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. I have not read it yet, but I've heard a lot of things about it. Alright, and then we have May, all the May romances. My top one is The Dixon Rule by Elle Kennedy. This is the next book in the Campus Diary series, book 2. It's a sequel to The Graham Effect, which I loved. It's about Shane and Diana, who were friends of Gigi and Ryder from book 1. I am a little sad we're not getting another second generation character, like second generation of the Off-Campus series, but I'm still excited. And then we are finally getting The Consequence by Ashley Jade. This is a sequel to The Choice, book 2 in the Star-Crossed Lovers duet. We are finally getting the conclusion to Skylar and Memphis's romance. The release date for this one did get pushed back a little, but it's set for May. And then the new Christina Lauren is called The Paradise Problem. It's marriage of convenience-ish. The main character is married for convenience back in college, and they thought they got divorced, but they didn't sign the papers correctly, so they're still married. The hero is currently a professor, and he's also the heir of $100 million, and the heroine is a starving artist. He asks her to play his fake wife, even though they are still married, to get that inheritance. Next is Savor It by Tara DeWitt. It's a small town romance with fake dating. It's got a city boy, small town girl, and they become neighbors. We're getting a lot of sapphic romances in 2024. This one is Second Night Stand by Faye and Corelia Stats Waters. It's an FF romance between a burlesque dancer and a professional ballerina. They fall in love while competing on a reality TV talent show. Next for May is Love, Lies, and Cherry Pies by Jackie Lau. It's another fake dating romance. We got so many fake dating romances in 2023, and we're still getting some more for the next year, and I am here for it. The heroine's mom here is obsessed with setting her up with their family friend's son. So to get her mom off her back, she decides to fake date that son. We're also getting a bunch of fantasy romances in May. Born of Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout is coming out. This is the 4th and final book in the Flesh and Fire series. There's also Heavenbreaker by Sarah Wolf. It's a brand new fantasy romance. No idea what this is about, but it's got a beautiful cover with beautiful sprayed edges. I have read some contemporary romances from this author though, and I love them, so I'm excited about this. And then there's also a new fantasy romance from Katie Robert, Blood on the Tide. It's book 2 in the Crimson Sail series. It's a sapphic pirate romance, and one of the heroines is a vampire. I also do have to include this last May release, even though I struggle with this author, but Carly Fortune is coming out with yet another summery romance. It's called This Summer Will Be Different, and it's a best friend's younger brother romance. Moving on to all the June romances, we made it to halfway through the year. My most anticipated one is none other than Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. This is another one of her yearly STEM romances. The heroine works for a startup that's currently dealing with a hostile takeover. The hero is the head of that hostile takeover, and they start up this forbidden romance, this forbidden office romance. I'm also dying for Play Along by Liz Tomford. It's the 4th book in the Windy City series. We're getting Isaiah and Kennedy next. They accidentally got married in Vegas at the end of book 3. Another sequel sequel that I'm excited about is Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. It's book 2 in the Lakefront Billionaire series. It's a sequel to Love Redesigned. He is a single dad, and I'm pretty sure this is a falling for the nanny romance. There's also Pucking Sweet by Emily Rath. It's book 3 in the Jacksonville Rays series. It's an MMF hockey romance. The heroine is the new director of PR for the hockey team. The two hockey players are the bad boy, party boy defenseman, and there's also an accidental pregnancy. And then my favorite, Catherine Center, has a new book coming out. It's called The Rom-Commers. The heroine moves to LA to rewrite this rom-com script by one of her heroes. He is kind of a terrible person and his script is even worse, so she has to show him the magic of rom-coms. Pardon My Frenchie by Farah Rashan is another June release. It's got enemies to lovers. The heroine runs this dog boarding business. She wants to expand, but the building that she's been eyeing has just been sold to the hero who wants to build a bar out of it. And then we have Ashley Poston's new paranormal romance. It's called A Novel Love Story. The heroine is a literature professor who finds herself transported into a fictional small town from one of her favorite series. And then the hero is a grumpy bookstore owner. Hannah Grace is coming out with Daydream this month. It's the 3rd book in the Maple Hill series. The hero is the team captain of their college hockey team, and the heroine is his new friend and tutor. Christina Lauren is coming out with another romance this year. This is called Tangled Up in You, and it's their Tangled retelling. It's a modern retelling about 2 college students who are in the same seminar, and they go on a road trip together. This next one is by Renee Carlino, and it's been a long time since her last release, but she's finally making a comeback in 2024. This is called This Used to Be Us, about a married couple who are in the process of getting divorced. And then Tilly Cole is releasing the sequel to 1,000 Boy Kisses. 1,000 Broken Pieces is about the sister of the heroine from book 1. There's also The Gilded Heiress by Joanna Shoup. This is a new Gilded Age historical romance. The hero thinks that the heroine is the long-lost daughter who was stolen from one of the wealthiest families in America. So he's trying to reunite her to get the very big ransom. And then for all the Sierra Simone fans, we are getting Honeycut, which is book 2 in the Lioness series. This is the MMF spin-off series of the new Camelot series. Another book that I am very excited about is Business Casual by B.K. Borison. This is Love Light book 4, I believe the final book in the series. It's a small town romance. The heroine owns a tattoo studio and the hero is an investment banker. And then the last book that I have for June is a new fantasy romance. It's The Wren in the Holly Library by K.A. Lind. It's about this alternate New York where monsters live alongside humans, and it sounds really cool. And then for July, I have 11 romances here. Five Brothers by Penelope Douglas is absolutely my most anticipated one for this month. It's a spin-off of Tristic's Venom. We are back with the Yeager brothers, and one of them is the hero. We don't know who it is. There's also The Au Pair Affair by Tessa Bailey. This is the 2nd book in the Big Shot series. It's a single dad sports romance. The hero is a hockey veteran. The heroine is a broke, aspiring marine biologist, and she becomes his child's nanny. Nalini Singh is coming out with the 8th book in the Psy Changeling Trinity series. It's called Primal Mirror. I have no idea what this pairing is going to be, if it's Psy or Changeling, whatnot, but I'm ready for it. And then one of my favorites, Kristen Becker Ritchie, is coming out with Dishonestly Yours. It's a new adult romance about 2 characters who come from con artist families, and it's also a best friend's brother romance. I'm also so excited for Settled Scores by Adelaide Forrest. It's the 6th book in the Blondie Crime Syndicate series. It's this dark mafia romance, and this one has an arranged marriage. That Prince Is Mine by J.C. Lee is releasing this month. It's about a Korean royal court cuisine instructor, which I didn't even know was a thing, but it sounds so cool. And the hero is a USC professor who's also secretly a prince. And then we have The Game Changer by Lana Ferguson. This is yet another hockey romance. The heroine is this baker with a TV show, but she's losing viewers, so she does a collaboration with the hockey team, and the hero is her brother's best friend. Next is The Vicious King by Gina L. Maxwell. This is the third and final book in the Deviant King series, which is this fae paranormal romance series. There's also All Folked Up by Penny Reed. It's book 3 in the Good Folk series. It's another small town romance set in the same world as the Winston brothers, and this time we have a grumpy hero and an exotic dancer heroine. The final romance for July is a new Lauren Cade book. She's the author of the Fallen series, but she's recently come out with some adult romances, and this is a new one. It's called What's in a Kiss, and it's enemies to lovers between former high school rivals. And then for the last few months of 2024, I don't have as many books to share just because they haven't been announced yet, but for August I have 6. First up, the one I am so ready for is the new Talia Hibbert. She's coming out with the first book in the Skybriar series. It's this Jane Austen inspired rom-com series. And then for all the Elise Kova fans, for all the fantasy romance fans, A Dawn with the Wolf Knight is book 5 in the Married to Magic series. The heroine is a witch and the hero is a werewolf knight. The final book in the Legacy of God series by Rena Kent is also coming out. This is God of War. It's Eli and Ava's book, dark enemies to lovers romance. And then we have a new Casey McQuiston. The pairing is a second chance romance. It's about 2 bisexual exes who accidentally booked the same European trip and tour. They challenge each other in this international hookup competition to prove that they're over each other. Next is Wicked Serve by Grace Riley. It's a new hockey romance. It's book 4 in the Beyond the Play series. It's new adult, college, and the hero is the heroine's brother's biggest rival. And then Katie Robert is coming out with yet another book this year. Dark Restraint is book 7 in the Dark Olympus series, and it's Ariadne and the Minotaur's romance. And then for September I have 4 books, and the one that I am most excited about is My Vampire Plus One by Jenna Levine. This is Reginald's book. It's kind of the sequel to My Roommate is a Vampire. It's got fake dating where the human heroine asks the vampire hero to be her fake date for some upcoming events. There's also No Ordinary Duchess by Elizabeth Hoyt. It's book 3 in the Grey Court series. It's another historical romance, and it's got a marriage of convenience between a Duke hero and his greatest enemy's sister. And then there's 2 fantasy romances coming out as well. A Dawn of Gods and Fury by K.A. Tucker. This is the 4th book, the 4th and final book in the Fate and Flame series. And the other fantasy romance is a sequel to Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mirror. For October, I only have The Shortlist by Elena Armas. This is the sequel to The Long Game about one of the secondary characters from that book. It's a small town romance with an engagement of convenience. And then the final book that I have for all the 2024 romance releases is coming out in December. It's a sequel to Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. It's the 3rd book in the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be ready for that book, but it's coming out at the end of the year. But that's it for all the romance releases that are coming out in 2024 that have set release dates. The ones that don't have release dates, but I'm still ready for them, and I'm pretty sure they're coming out next year, are Make the Season Bright by Ashley Herring Blake. That one's coming out more towards the fall. It's a sapphic holiday rom-com. There's also the next book in the Iron Covenant series by Alona Andrews. I love Alona Andrews, so I've been waiting for this book for a very long time. I am praying that we get The Bride Bet by Tessa Dare. Who knows if it's coming out next year. We also probably might get the 3rd book, the 3rd and final book in the Mortal Fate series by Jay Bree. I'm hoping for Motel by Penelope Douglas, but that's probably not going to happen. I'm also waiting on My Dear Husband by Danielle Laurie, and A Dance of Smoke and Steel by Mila Vane is a fantasy romance that got pushed back many times, so hopefully we get it sometime next year. But that's it for all the books that I have coming out in the next year. These are the ones that have actually been announced, so I'm sure there's going to be a ton more to be announced next year. I'm going to try to link everything that I can find in the description below. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. Let me know which 2024 romances are on your TBR. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!